What's up, guys? I'm Landon from Shoewear, and today we're taking a closer look at the Nike Renew Elevate 2 in this triple black colorway. So as you guys can see here on screen, we are kind of under the weather right now. I'm on the injury reserve. I did get a little fracture in my hand, so you're going to see that in some of the clips today. There's not going to be, much shooting videos. It's going to be more just like layups, different stuff like that. Still playing around in them. I wanted to give you guys the full on-court feel, but just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that going forward. But if this is your first time checking us out, feel free to drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching and give this video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. So taking a quick look at the box, you're just going to get an orange box with some like a white pattern or a design kind of going on. You get some Renew text on there as well. Then as for pricing, these are going to retail for only $80, making them a much more affordable option to play in, so I do like that. So looking at the appearance of these, to be honest, they're just, weren't a lot of colorways for this shoe on the market right now. I would never pick an all black colorway personally. I normally like colors that pop a little bit more, but I'm not trying to focus on that. Let's just go ahead and look at the model itself. So on the tongue, you're going to have kind of like a strange sideways Nike logo. And then from the side, I'm trying to think of what shoe this reminds me of, but I'm like drawing a blank. They look similar to something, but I do like the design on the midsole that they went with on these. And then you're going to have a Nike swoosh on the outside of the upper, and then it's going to show up faintly on the inside of the upper too. And I mean, with this being a cheaper shoe, retailing for only $80, there just aren't as many pieces kind of added on to this design. So I would say these have, a little bit more of a simple look. So now let's go ahead and see how they hold up on the court. So now I'll hit on more of the performance side for the Renew Elevate 2. So starting off with the cushioning, the midsole is actually made up of two different foams that are fused together, and the firmer and more supportive foam is going to provide structure and stability, and then the Nike Renew foam is going to be there to kind of target areas where your foot just needs, a little bit of a softer feel. And playing in these, I will say that you kind of get what you pay for. Like, the cushioning doesn't feel quite as soft as some other models, but I didn't actually get to test out the first release from this Renew Elevate line. I did just test out the Renew Elevate 3 kind of along with these twos, and I do want to say the threes felt a little bit softer. You can just tell there just aren't any additional layers of cushioning or anything like that on this Renew Elevate 2. You're not going to find any zoom units or anything like that in the forefoot, so you're not going to get like a super bouncy feel. But I mean, like I said, with an $80 shoe, you can only do so much. But the collar is going to be padded, and I do think that just makes these a little bit more comfortable in general. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, cushioning, it's not going to be like the highlight, it's not going to be like the low light to this shoe. It's just kind of going to be somewhere in the middle. So now getting into more of the materials and the support, this is one of those shoes you can pick up and you can just kind of tell that you aren't dealing with a premium shoe. A lot of that is going to come from the lower retail price, but the upper is going to be made out of a mesh material that is meant to give you a snug feel just to help reduce movement in your foot during play. And honestly, it does a pretty good job. Like, you're going to have some TPU overlays on there too. So as far as the support goes, that is the spot that I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but I am kind of impressed. Like, that wave kind of looks like a hill built into the midsole. It rises up and acts a little bit like a brace just to help with some lateral containment. And then worked into the lacing system is this overlay, and the laces actually feed through that, and tightening that spot just helps eliminate movement. So your foot just gives your foot, a little more of a secure feel. So support actually holds up well for a lesser quality shoe, if you want to call it that. But one of the major benefits to this shoe specifically is how light they are. The Nike Renew Elevate 2 only weighs 360 grams for a size 10.5. So that's probably one of the top 5 lightest shoes that I've ever played in, and you really get that feeling on court. Like, all your movements, they just feel a little bit easier, and anything down this low is when you can really start to feel a separation in how they play on your foot compared to some heavier models or even just some average models. But I mean, with shoes this light, that is where support starts to become a little bit more of a concern. But on the Renew Elevate 2s, they actually did a good a solid job making you feel secure. So I mean, it was definitely nice to see that. To finish off with traction, Nike uses a wavy geometric tread pattern that is designed to give you multi-directional traction and control, and they definitely aren't bad, especially for the price, but I wouldn't say traction is going to be the strongest part of this model. We're starting to implement the squeak test though. We have been getting some more comments about that, so whenever I bring the music in the backdrop down here for you, I mean, you can hear them squeaking a little bit, so that does show you that there will still be some grip on this model. And I wouldn't say that I've struggled in the Renew Elevate 2s, but I also wouldn't say they play quite as well as the Renew Elevate 3s that came out a little more recently. But I mean, the grooves are pretty deep, honestly, and I wouldn't say that the cushioning is bad on these at all. So as far as an outdoor shoe to hoop in, these probably could work from what I felt. But I mean, to finish off with sizing, I did go true to size. My toes do get pretty close to the end here, so the length was about perfect for me, but there wasn't a ton of space left over. And then it's about regular for the width. I wouldn't consider these narrow or wide, but I mean, overall, I mean, the Nike Renew Elevate 2 is a pretty solid performer. I wouldn't say this is going to be a real weakness on this model, but I mean, to go along with that, I wouldn't say there's really anything that makes them stand out too much other than just how light they are. I gotta admit, I do love that, and the support still holds up pretty well on top of that. I mean, and I would say these are at least average to above average for cushioning and tread traction for shoes that are around this price range. So there's definitely some things to like on this Nike Renew Elevate 2 model. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. If you're interested in buying these shoes and you want to support our channel, just click the link here on screen, or we have links down below or in our bio, so feel free to check that out. But until next time, peace.